Hello my fellow pen enthusiasts. I've got another pen review here for you. I just finished up my Penbbs 380 review and I thought I'd go ahead and jump into this one. So I've already done a review on the Penbbs 456, but I wanted to do a review on this particular model or color. Now you notice I've got a pen rest here, and that's because this is the Symphony color pen rest. And I really loved this acrylic material. It's very attractive in my opinion. Has, of course, you know, it's transparent, but it has a lot of depth to it with all the colors and swirls in it. It almost to me looks like blown glass. Something that I've always failed to really, you know, share with some of the Penbbs clear acrylics that have those type of depths to them. It looks like blown glass to me. So this is the Symphony in the 456, and really just kind of want to jump into the actual pen. Now I have a pen to go along with my pen rest. So I happen to really enjoy the 456. My other one, I'm already on, I think, my third fill on the pen. I haven't even cleaned it out yet. Probably need to clean it out after this next one. May have to go away for a little bit just to give some other pens in the rotation, but I love that pen. That one I have a fine nib. This one is a fine nib as well. However, I am going to switch it out to a medium Penbbs nib. It gives me a chance kind of to show off my keychain here. I've got a medium nib inside my keychain there. Now, wanted to kind of show off this material. I'm not going to fill this pen on camera because it takes a while to get all that set up. However, if you're interested, check out my other Penbbs 456 video. If you've never filled up a vacuum filler, I show you kind of how to do that. It's somewhat simple, but if you've never done it, I can understand if it might seem a little bit intimidating. So check out that video and it will kind of walk you through that. Now, I just find this material, I don't know what it is about it. I think it's attractive. Again, it kind of reminds me of blown glass. In person, it's crazy how there's so much depth, and it looks just the way the different pieces and different colors show through the clear acrylic, and it just looks, I think, awesome. And of course, once you put ink in this pen, I think it's going to look even cooler. You kind of see the end there. But I think the barrel right in this section right here in particular, I think is really cool. So uncapping the pen, of course, the section is the same material. So again, just kind of showing that off a little bit. Show off the cap again, just a tad more. But I just think it's really neat. So now, as I stated before, this has that kind of two-tone fine nib. And you know, this nib, Penbbs fine nibs are a little bit on the drier side. Now, of course, I can work on them and make them, you know, wetter. But I really like their medium nib. So I thought with my other one having a fine nib in it, it would be nice to kind of switch it up, put a medium nib in here and just kind of write with the pen and see how it performs. What I'm going to do is I actually am going to kind of disassemble this pen so you can see all the different parts, so to speak. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll show off the parts. And then I will put in our new nib. So, of course, you can get these keychains off of Penbbs official store. I think they still have some colors on there right now. I don't remember the specific color. I apologize. But I think their keychains are awesome. This is the first one I purchased, but it's really cool. So you take this piece off, and then literally you've got a nib right here. And it just, literally, you just unscrew it, and you're ready to swap out your nib. And you know, so I can take this nib, put it in that pen, take that fine nib out, put it back in here, and I've got that now ready to go for another pen, for instance. So I think their keychains are really cool. I think it's just something, an interesting design. I mean, I love the fact that they got that O-ring right there, so it seals it up really nice. So when you go to screw it on, you know, you get that really nice gratifying seal with it. And of course you can get these in different colors, different materials, so I just think it's neat. This won't, of course, go on a set of keys. I don't want to beat up this acrylic or anything. I'm pretty hard on my keys, like most people probably. So, but I think it's neat to have sitting around your desk or whatnot. So there you have it. Like I said, I'm going to disassemble this pen, kind of show it off a little bit disassembled, and then we'll go from there. See you in a minute. All right. So here we see the pen, you know, partially disassembled, and the only thing I didn't pull the nib and the feed out of the actual collar here. I'm not going to do all of that, but I did kind of want to show off just some of the parts in general. And I'll actually reassemble it on camera so you can see that part. But of course, your nib unit, like I stated before, just unscrews. For those of you that have never seen this before, I'm sure most of you have, but you've of course got your O-ring down here as well as one here also to really help seal up that nib to prevent any leakage. Now, one thing, if you've never pulled the nib and feed out of a Penbbs collar, always bear in mind that these fins right here are very thin. So ideally you want to have like some rubber grippers, for instance, and of course I don't have any one of them laying around right now, but you want to use that drawer liner. Works great, that like rubber drawer liner you buy from Home Depot, Walmart, any hardware store. Cut that up into pieces. Works good, it's cheap, and you know, if you lose it, not like you invested a lot of money. But always pull from the side right here. Don't pull from these fins. I have even made the mistake of doing that. You can generally, if you push them down, you can generally get them to reflex back out. But just note that you can damage the feed pretty, I don't want to say severely, but pretty good if you're not careful. Another thing that would not be bad, if you are planning, if you already have a lot of Penbbs pins, or you're planning on getting a lot of them or collecting, is to get one of these Penbbs parts packages. These have actual extra feeds in them. They even have the collars, extra converters, O-rings. You got tons of O-rings in here. You've even got parts to the actual mechanism here for your vacuum filler, like the rubber mechanism and stuff. So definitely something that I would consider purchasing. Here you can see the part, so it's 472-Penbbs, so should be part, I think, 472. So if you type in Penbbs-472 or something like that, or Penbbs 472, you should be able to find this and order one. Those typically cost anywhere between like $8 to $10 for the parts package. And I think it's a really great deal. So just FYI on that. Now I'm going to go ahead and take out the medium nib, kind of start reassembling this pin. And I don't know, that might be for me earlier, but you'll notice the O-ring has actually gotten wrapped around. So I'm going to take that off real quick. Comes off pretty easily. And then we're going to put it back on the feed. I might have to do this off camera because it's hard doing it over the camera. I apologize. Just kind of work it down and make sure it's really kind of seated up against there. So make sure both of those are in a good spot. It's probably for me messing with it earlier. And then of course we're just going to screw it back into the section. Now you'll notice you have a really nice O-ring here. I'm not going to put any silicone grease on here. I know some people big about putting silicone grease. I'm not going to use any. I've never had any leaking issues with my other 456. So really you just put this back in here and then just screw everything back together. Again, being cognitive of your fins there. And then you don't want it to be super duper tight, just tight enough. You can see now it's back in there. Everything looks good. Make sure from this angle, make sure it's just in there good. Of course, you don't want any parts of that collar just hanging out, which in my case, get a close up, looks good. Let's see if I can get a little closer. All right, now we will screw this back in. Now, one thing you'll notice, there's going to be a lot of friction and tension when you first go to push that in because of that O-ring, which is a good thing. Understand that, you know, you're going to kind of have to wiggle it, you know, both out and in whenever you take it out and when you put it in. And then again, you're just going to tighten this back down. There's going to be a lot of tension, which is a good thing. That means it's sealing up really well. This piston works really good, this piston rod. You can actually hear, so as I push down, kind of hear that click a little bit. So it's doing its job there. And really that's it. Again, not a full disassemble, but I did kind of want to show that part. Easy way to just switch out those nib units there. And then we'll screw this one in here. Got it screwed in. and then this can go back, and we have that for another pin when we want it. So there you have it. Like I said, these keychains, really cool. If you're really into collecting these PennBBS pins, get one. So I think the ink that I'm going to use for this pen is Mont Blanc Toffee Brown. So I haven't done a pen review with this, just got this ink not that long ago, and would love to incorporate that with this review. So I'm going to ink this pen up. I'm not going to do it on camera. So actually, I am going to do it on camera, but I'm not going to set it up everything. So literally just going to throw this off to the side, put down my nasty ink towel. It's from Christmas. It's got snowflakes on it. I'm going to pull out my ink bottle. I'm not going to set it up where you guys can see it very well, but I thought, hey, what the heck. I'm just kind of winging it this review. I've been up since 3 a.m. Had to go into work early this morning. And at this point when I'm doing this review, it is 5:30 in the afternoon. So I'm probably a little bit delirious. All right, so we'll take this out. Now, very easy. If you haven't ever done this, just unscrew your blind cap, pull your rod all the way out, make sure everything's good there. You're literally just going to submerge your nib into the ink, which I'm going to do now, and then you're just simply going to push down. You'll hear that pop, and then bam, the barrel is filled up. Kind of some of that ink cool off back into the bottle, and you'll see we have got ink in our barrel there. Not a bad fill. Now I could always invert this, and there's a technique that I could do to get more ink into it. I'm not worried about that. That's already a nice amount of ink. So I'm going to stick with that. I have a much better review of this, like I said, with my original 456. And I will grab my clear 456 so we can see those side by side. So here we see both of our 456 fountain pens and really two different materials. And you know, really no differences other than the actual material itself. Of course, I've got the two-tone fine nib here, and then I've got the medium nib in this one. And you know, both pens, attractive, materials great. I love this acrylic clear one. You know, just I think the ink kind of makes the pen in this. And nice weight with the 456, nice writing experience. I think it feels really good. So I'm going to get some paper ready to go, get the camera set up for it, and then we're going to start a writing sample. All right, so let's get this thing rolling. So of course we have the Penbbs 456 in the Symphony color. And we have a medium nib on it. Very nice wet writer. So there you see it. Of course, the ink I'm using, as you all know, is the Mont Blanc Toffee Brown. You know, and of course, you know, as far as the nib goes, it's not a nib you're going to get really any line variation. However, the medium nibs with Penbbs are generally really smooth. They write well. I have no complaints with them whatsoever. This one is nice and wet. This ink, I think, works well with this. Very wet writer. You know, does its job, does what it's intended to do. Fast writing. Does it well. I really, again, I like this ink. It just looks nice. A little bit of a hint of shading in some areas, in some respects. But so I paid around, I think it was $40 for this pen. If you like this color, I don't know if it's still available as I'm recording this. I think it is. So check it out. There's a lot of Penbbs 456 colors coming out. You know, I think it's just a popular pen. I mean, I remember when it first initially launched, a lot of the colors sold out really fast. Kind of like the 355, but they've even really gone all out on restocking this. I just think that for whatever reason, whether it be just this pen being received a lot better than the 355, I think the filling system's just been more consistent mechanically wise. It's just a nice pen. I really, really, really enjoy both of these pens. Now I'm glad because I've got a medium nib here, and then just for comparison's sake, I've got my fine nib here. This is that two-tone fine. So you can tell much finer line, but this is good for like when I'm at work, using some cheaper paper, kind of need a little bit of a finer line. Works well from there. And it's still, you know, it lays down a decent amount of ink. You know, like I said, Penbbs fine nibs are, in my opinion, a lot drier, but it works great for cheaper paper. So now I've got two options, and I'm very, very happy person. This Penbbs 456 definitely gets a thumb up. I've got two models now. They're great pens, nice ink capacity. They're not really hard to clean out, honestly. So that's another nice thing about it. So get you one if you haven't already. And until next time, everyone, take care, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.